For thousands of years, long before the word Bigfoot ever existed, indigenous nations across North America spoke of a tall, powerful, mysterious forest dweller whose presence shaped their understanding of the wild lands around them. And when European settlers finally arrived and began reporting sightings of giant, hairy beings in the woods, native storytellers simply said, "We have known about them all along." Because too many tribes, the creature outsiders called Bigfoot was not a monster, but an ancient being that had always lived alongside humans, watching from the trees, protecting the deep wilderness, and reminding people that the world was far larger and far stranger than they realized. Among the Salish, the being was called Sésq'ec, Si meaning wild man of the woods, a towering figure covered in long hair, with a face more human than animal, who moved silently despite its enormous size. And these stories described it not as a beast to be hunted, but as a guardian spirit being with intelligence and intention, one who chose when and to whom it revealed itself. The Lakota spoke of the Chiye-tanka, the big elder brother, a name that doesn't imply a monster, but a relative older, stronger, and living in a realm humans rarely entered. An elder said that seeing one was not an accident but a sign, a moment that asked the witness to pay attention to the land, the animals, and the balance of the world. In the Pacific Northwest, where some of the most consistent sightings in modern times occur, tribes like the Quinault, the Hoopa, and the Lummi shared legends of powerful forest giants who lived in the mist, communicated with whistles, and left massive footprints that hunters followed to the edge of deep ravines before the tracks suddenly stopped, as if the being simply vanished into another world. And for generations, these giants were seen as both physical and spiritual beings, creatures who walked the boundary between the material and sacred realms. The Navajo told stories of the Yitzhak, the big monster, who was defeated by the hero twins in ancient times. Yet they also told of large, hairy beings who roamed the canyons and high forests, distinct from evil shapeshifters, and instead closer to an ancient clan who chose isolation over conflict. And these tales emphasized that not all powerful beings were dangerous only, that humans should respect the boundaries they kept. The Cherokee spoke of the Tsul Kalu, the slant-eyed giant, a mighty forest guardian with immense size and supernatural abilities. And while many people today interpret Tsul Kalu as a type of Bigfoot, Cherokee elders often explain that he is more than that. He is a legendary ancestor, a teacher, and a protector of the mountains who sometimes walked among humans when the balance of the world needed restoring. Many tribes shared a belief that these beings communicated through stone throws, whistles, or deep resonant calls that echoed across valleys. And interestingly, modern eyewitnesses report the same behaviors. When native hunters heard those whistles in the old days, they were told not to chase them because it was understood the beings were warning humans that they were trespassing too far into their territory. Oral histories from the Cree and Ojibwe described large hair-covered beings who traveled at night, avoided open spaces, and were capable of incredible strengths, capable of breaking branches thicker than a man's arm with a single snap. And elders warned young hunters that the forest giants preferred solitude and would not attack unless provoked, making them a people to be respected rather than feared. Across the continent, one theme appears over and over. These beings existed long before the arrival of modern humans. They lived in small groups or solitary territories. They kept to the shadows of dense forests, and they possessed a level of awareness that made them almost impossible to catch or surprise. And this idea resonates deeply with modern reports of Bigfoot being shy, elusive, and extraordinarily good at avoiding detection. Some tribes believed that these beings could influence dreams, appearing in visions to guide hunters, warn families, or remind people of the old ways. And in many cultures, a sighting was seen as a sign that the witness had a unique connection to the spiritual world or a responsibility to protect the land. Stories from the coast, Salish, describe how the giants could mimic human voices or create strange knocking sounds in the forest. Behaviors witnesses still report today, and while skeptics dismiss these as animal noises, native stories insist the beings intentionally use sound to communicate with humans from a distance. One of the most striking consistencies across native traditions is the description of massive footprints, sometimes measuring over 18 inches long, found along riverbanks, in deep mud, or crossing mountain passes. And tribes believed these prints were a reminder that humans were not alone on the land, and that other ancient beings walked the earth long before the first settlements or villages existed. Among many nations, children were warned never to wander alone into deep woods at dusk, not because the giants were evil, but because they valued privacy and did not like being disturbed. And elders wanted children to respect the unseen parts of the natural world. Some tribal stories describe close encounters where the beings watched from the treeline, curious but cautious, never harming the humans but always keeping their distance. And these accounts continue in modern times, where campers report feeling watched or seeing massive silhouettes standing silently at the forest edge before melting into the darkness. Native nations across the Great Basin tell stories of a smaller but still powerful type of wild person, sometimes described as mischievous, sometimes dangerous, and sometimes helpful, suggesting not one species, but multiple forest beings. each with their own territories, behaviors, and relationships to humans. Even today, many tribal members say that Bigfoot sightings should not be dismissed or laughed at because the stories are not myths to them. They are part of a long, continuous history of living with powerful beings that modern society has forgotten how to see. To some indigenous elders, Bigfoot is a protective spirit who maintains balance in the forests, keeping track of changes in the land, water, and animals, and appearing only when the natural world is disrupted, while to others, it is a physical remnant of ancient peoples who chose to live apart from human society and evolved in isolation over thousands of years. In many native languages, the words for these beings translate to elder, wild person, long man, or shadow guardian. And none of these terms imply a creature that is mindless or monstrous, and instead they emphasize wisdom, strength, and deep connection to the earth. Many tribes teach that the forest giants understand humans better than humans understand them, and that is why they stay hidden not out of fear, but because they know humans often destroy what they do not understand. Some modern-day native hunters claim to have seen them crossing ridges at dusk, moving effortlessly on steep terrain where humans struggle, and these sightings match ancient descriptions of their agility, power, and deep familiarity with the land. Across all of these traditions runs a central thread: the land is alive. The forest has eyes, and humans are not the only thinking beings who walk the mountains, swim the rivers, or watch from the shadows. Whether Bigfoot is a physical creature, a spiritual being, a guardian, an ancestor, or something that exists between worlds, the Native American perspective reminds us that the mystery is far older than modern sightings, and the forest giant is not a new discovery. It is an old story finally being heard again. And as we explore this ancient legend through the lens of indigenous knowledge, we are reminded that not all truths are written in books, not all history is carved in stone, and sometimes the oldest stories come from the land itself. If you're enjoying this journey through indigenous history, ancient legends, and the mysteries that shape our world, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments what story, creature, or piece of history you want us to explore next, and we'll bring it to life in our next episode.